Greetings and welcome back to Moto Matters. It's the moment of truth. We're going to uncork the engine and see how bad things are. So we're going to take the head off, take the cylinder off, and see how damaged it is. Then we'll measure the crank to see if we split the cases to put a crank in it as well. Here we go. A little damage, but it looks old. Pretty clean, not too much carbon buildup. All right, this arm goes up and that's what controls the power valve. I can't force it, but then it opens and closes and pushes these little wings right in here, in and out. There. Yep, there, that guy will move a little. You see the wing go in and out. Now, that's the power valve from this era. Not really a good design. Worked better than the original, but nowhere near as good as the butterfly that we use today. Nice damage from when he blew it up and Caesar and stuck the ring. Oh yeah, ring is stuck, which is why she had no compression. Minimal damage on the backside. Tell the heat there. Based on the condition of the rear tire, it spent some time on the road. And also the filth in the airbox. Sucks some dirt. See the scarring and the damage on the exhaust side, which is normally where the heat builds up and it'll seize or scar. And the intake side has little, but not near as much. You can see at the bottom of the bore on the intake, the damage right in here. See the scratching? That's kind of how it should look. A little cross hatching right in here. The whole cylinder should have that up and down. And you run a hone down it to get a nice cross hatch. I'm going to pull the piston clip out. But always put a rag over your bottom end so the clip doesn't fall down in there. Just like that. We got her. Now we should be able to push the pin out from the other side and pull the piston off. If your pin is seized and stuck, they make a puller for it. You get to that point, you need a new rod because it'll damage the end. All right. There's our piston, our pin, our top end bearing. Only 2 strokes have the top end bearing. 4 strokes do not, interestingly. You see the intake side of the piston. And again, the damage on the exhaust side. Now let's feel the crank. All right. Up and down for slop. There's absolutely none. There's going to be thrush left and right. I mean, to measure these gaps, to see how we're doing. Let's just crank around a few times. Oh, feels pretty nice, actually. So I don't think we're going to be putting a crank in it. We're going to measure just to double check. Pull a crank rod off to one side, measure down in. Feel that gap. You can kind of feel it push and tug. You can do it on the other side too. You push and tug and pull. And that is spot on, exactly where you want it to be. So I'm going to say, we're not touching the bottom end. We're just going to repaint it so it looks pretty. Put a top end in her and call her a day. Now you can see flaps going in and out. All this gets gummed up with carbon, clean it out, make it nice again. That's the kind of carbon buildup you're used to. Well, that's a wrap on our power valve disassembly. Now we're going to get back to what we love doing, the hours of cleaning that we don't really show you.
A few minutes later.
Gonna ball hone the cylinder. We've got a little crosshatch in here. You want to get in here, you can see the scratches at about a 30-degree angle, crisscross. We're going to clean those up with some rougher parts of the cylinder. What we have here is a ball on. It's a little too big. New Jersey fit better. But hopefully this works out okay for us. All I do is just take some General Motor oil and coat the inside of the cylinder. Not 2 strokes, doesn't have to be. And make sure your cylinder's completely stripped out because things are going to get dirty. We'll just lubricate the cylinder like so. Then at a medium speed, we'll run the ball hone in and out, going forward and backward, enough to get that 30-degree angle. And let's see how I do. Here we go. All right, you see our scratches in the oil. Pretty darn close to the right angle that we want. Let's clean her out and inspect her up. Alright, I've washed the cylinder out with hot, soapy water. So I'm going to use some air to blow out all the water. Okay, it didn't clean up as much as it should have, but I kind of knew that going in. This is going to be my actual daily rider race bike. Would have sent it out, replated the cylinder. But it's going to be good enough. It'll run just fine. Got a decent score in there, decent cylinder. Even though we got a few scratches left in it. Now, first thing you want to do, especially if you're not going to rebuild the engine or put it back together immediately, get oil in there. I've been spraying it down with WD-40 to fight the rust. Or if you want it this time, take your 2-stroke oil, coat the inside of the cylinder. But my intentions are now to put it back together and get it running. So we're going to do that as we go. Alright, here's where some procedure matters. We're going to temporarily tighten up the right side, go over and adjust the left side, pushing it all the way in tight and pushing the linkage arm in as tight as it will go. Now we're back on the right side, holding it tight, holding it shut. Now we're checking to make sure they both move the same amount. Clearance on it between the pin and the springs is 1 to 2 millimeter to make sure they're not pushing too much against one side or the other, but that you're getting full extension on both wings. Here I'm just checking ring gap. You want to do it at the base of the cylinder, the middle, and the top. And interestingly enough, we did not have the appropriate clearance. So let's take a little hand file, go slow and easy, off little by little, and I took it off of both sides instead of just one side only. Now we're measuring the cylinder clearance, and considering we're slightly scored, you think it'd be worse shape, but the measurements were all right on. I've not put any circlips in yet because this is just a mock-up so we can get the cylinder bridge marked and get the holes drilled for proper lubrication. If you order an OEM piston, it's going to ask if it's an A or a B, and that mark on the cylinder tells you. For an OEM piston, it's specified in the part number. If you get an aftermarket piston, it's not going to matter. All the pistons fit both cylinders. Drilling a brand new piston's scary, nobody wants to do it, but it has to be done. But you want to make sure you remove all the burrs so it goes smoothly in the cylinder. Deburred it, washed it, and now I'm putting the circlip in on the bench on one side to make it easier. Again, put the rag over the bottom end so you don't drop the new circlip in as we put it in on the other side. Make sure you get the piston going the right way. The arrow points to the exhaust. And here we go. The more difficult circlip went smooth and easy for me. Thank you, Lord, for your mercy on that one. Rings are beveled to give better compression, so always look for the mark and make sure it goes the right way. The mark's up on this one, and being a two-stroke, we've got to line it up on the pin so it doesn't snag one of the ports. Oh baby, don't forget that base gasket. Way too many times if I forgot that, got the piston in the cylinder, only to have to take it all apart again to get that base gasket on there. Alright, got our top end rebuilt. The top end looks pretty, but as you can see, the bottom end doesn't. So we're not done with the engine, even though we're close. Normally the fancy guys disassemble the whole engine, Cerakote each part individually. We're not that kind of shop. I'm going to tape up our whole top end, our shafts, the knee covered, all our ports, and then we'll get the bottom end painted black. After that, we'll be ready to put a bike pack together. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle with my broken hands that don't work very well at all, let's say it that way. But if I can do it, you can do it. And if you can do it, we can all do it. Whatever Rocky said at the end of Rocky 4. Yo, Adrian. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe.